This video is brought to you by Miniature Market. Thousands of board games, discounted prices, miniaturemarket.com.
Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Hey, we are all guilty suspects, but we're trying to pin evidence on different players, but we don't really know who is who. Today we're talking about Simply Suspects. It's for 2 to 6 players, takes about 15 minutes to play, that's it. This is a sequel to a very popular older game called Spy Alley, so let me show you how it's played and I'll see you on the other side. At the beginning of Simply Suspects, you are given one of these secret identities, and it will be face down. No one else will see this but you. And what you're trying to do is find out the identities of others and get them to be guilty from the grand jury, and you be the last one standing. So let's just say I'm Wilbur E. Meadows, the little horse here. This should be face down, nobody could see it. Now here's the board, it's sort of elongated. This is generally a roll and move game where you're gonna be rolling a die and moving around, and there'll be some choices as to which tracks you go down, and you'll be going around here. Here is the suspect board here. This has each of the suspects' name and their pictures, and these are different pieces of evidence. For example, the 1 evidence is tire tracks, the 2 is a footprint, the 3 is a fingerprint, and so on and so forth. And what you're trying to do is pin pieces of evidence onto people that aren't necessarily you, because if at any point in time any person has 2 or more pieces of evidence pinned on them, and whoever they are gets to this grand jury space, they are automatically out of the game and they reveal who they were. So you're trying to figure out who's who, and you're trying to pin enough evidence to make other people guilty, but at the same time you're trying to maybe put some stuff on yourself because maybe you want to throw people off the track. So during certain times during the game, I might actually move a peg to Wilbur, even though that's me, because that will throw off suspicion that I'm actually that person. But you don't want to spend too much time doing that because the game is pretty short. It only takes about 15 minutes. So on your turn, it's simple. You're just going to roll a die and you're going to move. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a getaway card. These getaway cards can, instead of rolling, you can move this many. So 6, this would stay in front of you, face up, and there's some of all different values here. And so on a future turn, this person could just move 6 instead of rolling. Now, if someone lands on like one of these evidence, which says number 1 tire tracks, they get to take the number 1 peg and move it to any other person. Actually, they have to move it. If they go here, they move any opponent forward 1 space, and that opponent does something. If someone's on the your choice, if there's any pegs left up top, they have to choose any one of these to move to somebody. Once these are all gone, they have to take any 1 peg from somebody and move it to somebody else. We've talked about the getaway. Number 2 is you would move the 2 peg. Same for your choice. Now when you get here, you have some different choices. You can choose to go down this way or this way. If you land on one of these characters, you must remove 2 pieces. So if you land here, you must remove up to 2 pieces from here, and you can move them to the same person, or you can move them to different people. And that's each of those characters. If you land on any of these, you're moving the 3, 4, 5, or 6 peg somewhere, putting evidence on somebody else. If you're here, you'd trade spaces. So let's say somebody was here and somebody was here, and they got here. They would then say, well, I want to trade spaces with you, or something like that. Number 7, some evidence. We already talked about all these. Now, you get towards the bottom here. Let me zoom in over here. Now, each of these spaces, it says move forward 6, move forward 3, move forward 2, move any opponent back 1. What this does is these 3 spaces, all 3 of them lead you to the grand jury space. Now, if you land here, again, and your person, who your secret identity is, has 2 or more, you're over, you flip over your identity and you're out of the game, player elimination. But if you are not guilty, you can guess another player's identity. And when you do that, if you guess who this guy is, if you're right, that person's eliminated. If you're not, you're eliminated. So you better be sure. And after you get past the grand jury, you're continuing to go around and around. And the game's pretty quick. Takes about really 10 to 15 minutes to play. It's very quick. Very similar to Spy Alley, but just in a much faster, more streamlined manner. And it does have that intrigue of trying to figure out who they are. Now, there's a couple of variants here. The first one is there's teams. These 2 people are a team, these 2 people are a team, and these 2 people are a team, but you don't get to see anybody at the beginning of the game, so you're trying to figure out who your teammate is by what they're doing as well, and the last team standing is the one that, last person that has, both players from the same team wins, whoever the last person is standing. There's also a 4-player variant, where you get to see the character card of the person sitting across from you. And again, it's a team variant where you're trying to be whoever has the last person from either team, that team wins. And that adds a little bit more intrigue to the game as well. Now you probably just saw I just put up my review for Spy Alley, which is the predecessor to this, so you can go watch that as well. But this is a sequel to Spy Alley, and I'm going to say this game for me, now it is a roll and move and player elimination game. And there's a lot of luck in it, but there is a decent amount of strategy as well. Now I had some problems with Spy Alley, as you will see in that video. One of the parts was the length. Now this game, I believe, gives you about 80% of the fun and depth that Spy Alley gives you, but does it in about a third of the time. And for me, they streamlined it a lot. They took out the money, they took out a lot of the extraneous stuff, and they really focused on just what's fun in the game and shrunk the game down. And for me, this is a much more streamlined and fun experience than Spy Alley was. Now with that being said, it's still roll and move, but there is that fun intrigue thing. So if you're looking for a game that's super quick, I mean 15 minutes, even with 5 or 6 players, and you want to play it with some intrigue, you want to have some hidden rolls, there's even some variants that I talked about in the overview that aren't in the rules, that are sort of unofficial, but the publisher sent me the variants of team play and things like that, and it makes the game even more interesting in my opinion. So if you're looking for that little quick thing where you're trying to have a hidden roll, but you're not necessarily lying, but just kind of bluffing and trying to, cause some interference and things like that, then you might want to try this one out. In my opinion, it's definitely better and more enjoyable than Spy Alley, a lot quicker. But at the same time, it's still roll and move and there is some randomness, but I think even hardcore gamers will enjoy it because it's short. I mean, 15 minutes, player elimination, no problems when it's that short. And even though it's roll and move, there is some interesting strategies, interesting things that you can play with to throw people off and try to be the winner here. So overall, it's a decent game. For me, it's a try before you buy. It's not bad, but it's not great. It's still better than Spy Alley, but I still think there's better ones of this type of genre, and that is Simply Suspects.
This video was sponsored by Miniature Market's Review Corner. The Review Corner features podcasts, video, and written game reviews by gamers for gamers. Miniature Market, the online gaming superstore. Thousands of board games, discounted prices. Check them out at miniaturemarket.com.